Hello, welcome to this tutorial video. This is a continuation of our series on building a dynamic WordPress website using CocoaBlock toolkits. Our case study in this scenario is the job board listing website. If this is your first time of joining this channel or of seeing my video, there have been a lot of videos I've released on this playlist on building a job board website. You might want to start from the part 1 of this video if you want to follow along to understand what we fully covered so far and where we are heading to. My name is Ozzy. I'm your trainer. If you like my videos, support me by subscribing to this channel, liking, and if you have any question or where you want me to improve on my videos, don't forget to drop your comments. I attend to every comment, as you've seen so far in my channel. Without further ado, let's begin. Just a quick note before we begin properly. If you take a look at the playlist, you see that some of the videos on this job board listing website playlist has been partially blocked for some countries. If we take a look at some of the countries where the video has been blocked, you see we have the names of the country there: American Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, United States, US Outline Islands, US Virgin Islands. So for these countries, I've mentioned their name. As you can see on your screen, the videos have been blocked there. Apparently, is due to the copyright report claim by Jesus Culture for the musical audio which I use in the background of the video. So my thought was that the gospel is free. Since it was given to us freely and we are commanded to give it freely, the audio is what I could freely use on my video, but apparently it's not so, and I'm really sorry for that these videos have been blocked for my viewers on this country. But it doesn't stop our learning process. That's why I'm making this video. If you really need this video to follow up on everything so far we've been doing, just message me. I'll send you a link where you can actually watch the video and get all the details you need for follow-up and for solving any project related problem. Without wasting time, like I said before, let's dive right in. The last time we were working on employee user portal. This is the chapter, this is the part 6 of that series, and we are in chapter 2 of the part 6 of the series, employee portal. So if you look at the title while watching, you'll be able to get what I'm talking about. So for the employee portal tutorial, this is the chapter 2 of the part 6 of the series on creating a job board listing website, which is our case study for WordPress dynamic website. I'll quickly show you what we've done so far. Let's say I go to my account, which is what we named the account page. You see we have this as our previous workout on it. We've tackled the aspect of the dashboard, which you can see we're on a dashboard. Then we've also tackled the aspect of the settings for the employee. Now, the next in view is how the employee can favorite or save some job, or in another times we can say bookmark some jobs. But as you can see, we have nothing done here, and that's what we're going to tackle in this part. Let's go back to our dashboard. Then we're going to slide down to JetEngine. Then let's say we click on the JetEngine. Make sure in your JetEngine modules you have data stores toggled on. If you have that toggled, it should appear on this tab. I have my toggled and I've already saved. That's why it's appearing here. I'm going to click on data stores. So the work of data stores is to help a user store data directly from the front end. So it's very useful in cases like users are favoriting a post, users are bookmarking a post, users are liking a post, and those are several case scenarios we can use data stores for. But in this case, we want users to be able to save a job or bookmark the job to view later in their own account portal. So I'm going to add new store and name this bookmark jobs. Now, automatically, the slug has been created for it. What store type should this be? I'm going to say is user metadata. Maximum size, leaving it to 0 makes it possible for the user to store unlimited jobs to their portal page. But I want the maximum to be, let's say, 10 jobs. For now, I can increase it later or decrease it. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to leave it to 10. Count items, I'm going to toggle this. Each user store, I'll leave it as untoggled. Store item on view, leave it as untoggled. Is custom content type store? No, it's not a custom content type store. I'm going to leave it as untoggled. Then overall, that's all the settings I need to do. Then I'm going to hit on save. Now, the next thing we're going to do is to create a listing item where users will be able to access the total job archives and could save or favorite or bookmark any of those jobs to show in his or her home portal. So I'm going to create our first listing item. Then I'll click on add new listing. From which post? Is from job listings post. I'm going to scroll down to job listings, select it. Then I'll name this job listing item list, right? Then the listing view is for Elementor, that is the editor we want to use. In our case, we are not using Gutenberg, so I'll just go ahead and click on create listing item. Right. The first thing I'm going to do is to select the proper column structure for what we need to do. So for this, I'm going to select this column structure. Then in the style of this section, I'm going to make the background white. Then scroll down to border. Give it a border radius of, let's say, 12 or 10. I think 10 is okay. Border type solid. The border width, I'm going to just make it 1. Then the border color, I want to use this fainted light orange, which I did earlier. With that done, I make sure I update my changes, especially if it's a significant change, so that you won't lose the progress of your work. So I'll go back to elements, then I'll bring in the image widget. So I'm going to click on dynamic tags. I'm going to scroll down to user image. And what I want to do, I want to pull out the image of the employer who has what? Listed the job. So for mine is, for the employer details, I'm going to put the company or business logo of the employing company. So as you can see, this image is pulled out. But one more setting we need to do is that the context of this should not be current user, which for now, this is the image for the current user who is serving as an employee. I need to set it to current post author. So for this case scenario, still the current post author is still this user. With that being said, assuming if I've created public profile page for the employer, I would have linked. So let me log back in again. Assuming I've created the public profile page for employer, I would have linked the custom URL to that public profile page so that when they click on this image, they'll be redirected to the employer public profile page. So with that being said, I'm going to style this image, give it a width of, let's say, 50. 50 is okay. Then maximum height of 50 as well. But if I feel it's too big, I can just make it 40. I think 40 works just fine. Now I'm going to update that as well. Next thing I'm going to do is bring in a dynamic link widget. This belongs to the CrocoBlock feeds. So I'm going to change this label to post title. That's after clicking on dynamic tags, change it to post title. And there we have the post title showing up. Now I'll style this, give it a text color of, let's say, I'm going to select this color. Then for the hover, I'm going to make sure the hover text color is going to be this orange. So we have something like this. Now for the text size, I'm okay with this size. Let me check the typography weight. I'm just going to say is 600. So the next thing we're going to do is to bring in a dynamic widget, a dynamic feed widget. I'm going to drag and drop it underneath this. And this is going to be for now. What I wanted to bring out is the dynamic terms widget, not dynamic feeds. So we take that back. We click on dynamic terms. So for these terms, we want to show the job category which this belongs to. So for this, it belongs to media. So I'm going to style this. Let's make sure all the settings are correct. I want to show all terms. The delimiter is okay. I want the terms to be linked. Context is a default object. That's good for us. I'm going to style this. Come to the to labels. The text color, I want it to be this text color, right? So I'm going to make the typography 12. 12 is okay. I'll give it a weight of 500. Then what else would I do? Let me come to the general settings. Let's go back to the label setting. On the hover, I want to give it an orange color as well on hover, which is okay. Then I'll come to advanced. The width, I'm going to make it inline auto. Then the margin right 10. I'm going to duplicate this. Change the taxonomy to job location. So I want the job location to show. Now we could do something more to this by adding the term icon. For the first one, I'm going to look for archive and add this icon to it. Then for the second one, the term icon, I'm going to look for map pane and add it to it as well. So for this, I'm going to add another margin to the left 10. So I'm just going to update, save our progress, then I refresh this. So you see, we have our media, the categories as media, then the location as Lagos showing. I could still do more to the styling of this, give the icon some gap. Then the icon size for me, I feel is okay. But let me just try 12. 12 looks good. Let's just take it up to 13. I'm going to copy, then paste the style here. So we have this. The margin had been tampered with. So I'm going to take it back. Now I want this to be close to the title. So I'm going to give it a negative margin top of 15 and give this as well a negative margin top of 15. So with that being done, I'm going to bring in another dynamic term. And put it underneath this. The term here is going to be job type. So for this is going to be freelance job type. Then I'm going to style it, come to labels, make the typography size 13, give it a background of, let's say, this gray background. So I'm going to give it a padding of, let's say, padding of 5 on random. Then the radius is 2, padding of 5, radius of 2. So that's just it. Now I want the text color to be this. Then the hover text color to be orange. So we have this on hover. With that being said, we come to this part. We're going to bring in a title heading, make it a tag of H6. The tag here, we're going to, for the dynamic tags, we're going to come down to custom fields. In the custom field, we go to the job listing area and we look for the minimum payment amount for the job. For this is pulling out 200. When we come to the advanced aspect of this, we're going to set the before item to dollar. We want it to be a dollar sign. And that's just what we need to do there. Then let's say after, to specify it more, we can put minimum. I'm going to space, then put minimum. Then let's say when I style it, I can come to typography, give it a weight of 500. Then let's say this is 13 or 14 is okay. The text color is going to be this color. Now I'm going to duplicate this, then come to custom fields. The same job listing, I want to state the payment frequency for this kind of job. So the payment rate, that is the rate of frequency, is going to show up as, for this, is a one-time payment. So I'm going to come to the advanced, remove the dollar, then remove the minimum. Then I'm just going to put slash. That's before. The slash should be before, which should state that this $200 minimum is per one-time payment for this particular job. I'm going to go back to the first heading, come to advanced, set the width to inline auto, then come to the second one, come to advanced, set to width to inline auto. So you have this as close to each other that way. So it's going to read $200 minimum per one-time payment. If the rate is per month, it's going to say per month or per week. Vertical alignment, I'm going to align it to the middle, and that's pretty good for us. The next thing we're going to do is bring in the data store widget. If I look for data store button, I put it underneath here. Now we need to select the data store which we created earlier, bookmark jobs. So we have this pulling up, add to store. We don't need the labels. I'm going to to delete the label. The icon I want to select is this bookmark icon. I'm going to select that icon for users to click on it and save jobs. Now, action after an item is added to store, I want it to be remove item, remove from store button. Label after added to store, I'm not going to put any label. Icon after added to store, we're going to select an icon. I'm going to look for bookmark, and it will be the solid bookmark icon. I'm going to insert it so that when user click on this, it changes the icon to solid to signify that it's been added to their saved job. I'm going to come to the styling of this, align it to the middle, then the size looks okay. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to come to the advanced margin. I'm going to give it a margin top of 20. And that's all I need to do here. Then I'm going to click on update. So now what next we're going to do is to use this item, this listing item in a listing archive page. All right. So I'm going to go over to the dashboard. So I'm going to copy the dashboard URL. So I'll keep this open. Just paste the link here. I'll come to pages and I'm going to add a new page. So I'm going to add a new page. I'll name it job lists. I'll publish. Then I edit with Elementor. So for this, I'm going to first bring in a single column section. I'm going to stretch it to full width. Then for the background, I'm going to make the color of the section background this dark color. Come back to layout. The column, the height of the section, I want it to be minimum height. I want to make it a height of 200. With that said, I'm going to come to the widget area, drag and drop the heading. It's not showing because it's dark here in color. I'm just going to give it a title and say job lists. I'm going to style it, centralize or align the text to the middle, give it a color of white. Typography weight 600 is good for me. Then the size, I want it to be 30. Go to go. Then I'm going to bring in another section widget. I'm going to make it this section, stretch the full width, give this column a width of 30%, then make the background color of the full section a background color of white. I'm going to come to advanced, give it a padding of 50 top, 40 is okay, 40 top, 40 bottom. Then on this part, I'm going to bring in the listing item we just finished creating. I'll come to the widget area, look for listing. I'm going to bring in the listing grid here. Then I'm going to select the listing we created. I'm just going to say list. So we have job listing item showing up. I'll click on it. Then we have this showing. The column number, I just want it to be 1. So we have something pretty like this. So I've already clicked one of these jobs to my favorite. So we have a total of 6 jobs showing. We can increase it to 12 numbers per page or any number that is fitting for what you are doing. So for the no message found, I'm just going to say no jobs found. Now I'm going to set the equal column height. I'm going to toggle it on. and this is just good for what we are doing. I'm going to update, then I preview what we have. So now I'm just going to add other jobs to favorite or save them, bookmark them. So this from different companies, I'm going to bookmark this, then bookmark this one that's per week as well. So now this signifies that they've been added to the store. What we're going to do next is how to display the user saved item on the user's profile page. So we'll come over to our dashboard once again. Then we'll go down to JetEngine listing and we click on listings. We're going to add a new listing, still on job listing, that's the post type. Then the listing item, we're going to name it, let's just name it job listing item grid. We just name job listing item grid employee. Then we hit on create listing item. So now I'm going to bring in a single column widget. I'm going to set the column width to 300. Come to style, give it a background color of white. Then I'll bring in an image widget. I'll come to dynamic tags, scroll down to user image. Then select company or business logo. This is going to be current post author. Now the styling of the image, I want the image width to be 40. The height to also be 40 as well. The height looks relatively small, so I'll leave it at default. So this seems okay. Then next, I'm going to look for dynamic terms widget. Put it underneath the image. The dynamic terms here is going to be job categories. Now I'm going to style it, align it to the middle, come to the labels, give it a typography of 12. 12 is okay. Let's use 13. I'm going to come to advanced, give it a negative margin of 15. Then next, I'm going to bring in the heading widget, put it underneath this, come to dynamic tags, make it post title. Then we style it, I'll align it to the middle. I'll give it a size of, let's say 16. 16 is okay. Weight of 600. Then I'm going to bring in another widget. I think it's better we use dynamic fields widget instead of the heading. So we're going to adjust that, look for dynamic fields, so that when user hover on that title, we can set it in such a way that the color change. Sorry, the proper one we could use should be dynamic link. Dynamic link. So there's just several ways you could dynamically pull out your data, but just know which one is suitable for the context you are using it for. The label, I'm going to make it a dynamic tags to reveal the post title. Come to styling. I'm going to make it a text color of this. So whichever color is fitting for you in what you are doing, you choose the right color. Then the hover is going to be this orange. I want it to be aligned to the middle, so I come to the alignment here, then I align it to the middle. Next, I'm going to bring in an icon list widget, drag it and drop it underneath this. I'm going to style this widget, align it to the center. Text, the typography text is going to be 12 in size. 12 is okay. The weight, I'm going to leave it like this. Let's pull out the dynamic content we need for this. For the icon, I'm going to change the icon to map. Select this map pane, insert it, dynamic tags. I'm going to come to custom feeds. Under the job listing column, here I'm going to select job address. So we have the job address being pulled out. Then for the second icon list with area, I'm going to click on it, select calendar, select this calendar icon. Then I'm going to select the date which the job was posted, post date. So I don't need the other icon list item. I'm going to come to style, add a divider, give a space of 10 between the items. Then the width, I'm going to make it 50% for the divider. So with that being done, I'm going to bring in an inner section. I'll put it underneath this. Now, in one of the column of the inner section, I'm going to bring in a title heading. Here, I'm going to click on dynamic tags, come down to the JetEngine area, go to custom feeds, select, go to the column for the job listings, and click on the minimum amount for the job. This is going to be $200. So the before contest, I'm going to put dollar. Then after, I'll just hit on space, and this should say per something, but I'm going to dynamically pull that out. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this, then come to the editing of the second one, click on the range icon, change the payment rate to dynamically pull out the payment rate. So I'm going to remove the dollar in the advanced setting. So it's showing $200, a one-time payment. I'm going to style this and make them align with each other. So for the styling, I'm just going to make this 12. Then I'm going to come to advance of this, inline auto, copy this, paste the style. So this inlined. Then I'm going to just adjust this widget a little to the side. So for this, I'm going to give it a margin of 10 left. So we have then the vertical alignment for this inner section. I'm going to set the vertical alignment to middle. So we have $200 one-time payment. Now I could add another, let's say, category to this to show the kind of job type. This is a freelance job type. That's why it's $200 one-time payment. But it's not really necessary for this, because this listing item is just to show the employee the job he or she has saved to their own store. So next, I'm going to look for the dynamic terms widget, dynamic terms, drag it and drop it here. Then this is going to be for job type. So let's style it. This is going to be for, let's say, 12. So I feel it necessary that we should put the job type here as well. So this freelance, the text color, should be this. Then the background color, I want to make it a dark gray like this. I'm going to give it a padding of, let's say, 6 or under. So we have this padding, then a border radius of 2. So I'm not going to give it any form of hover color. If need be, we could make the hover color, let's say, this orange, just to give it a consistency all through the design. So next, I'm going to bring in another inner section, put it underneath this. Then I'm going to look for the dynamic link widget, drag it and drop it here. Now, for the source, I want the source to be removed from store. So this gives the user the option to remove the saved item from store. Now, we need to select the store module which we created, that's bookmark jobs. Now, for the label, we're going to change it to remove. Now, when we scroll down, we can select a feed icon for it. I'm going to look for trash. Then I select this trash icon to signify to user that that item is being removed from store. I'm going to align it to the middle. Come to the styling, give it a typography of, let's say, 12. So now the normal color, text color should be this orange, icon color this orange as well, but on hover I want it to be this red for the text color and this red for the icon color. I'm going to come to the icon gap, give it a spacing of 10. 10 is okay. So now this is just what we need to set, and we're going to see where we'll use it next. I'm going to hit on update to save our progress, then go back to our dashboard. Now, when we come down to the templates area and we click on save templates, I've already created a save template which we can use for employee favorite jobs, which is what we created earlier when we did the part 1 of the part 6, chapter 1 of this series. We created employee favorite job templates area. So now we're going to click on edit with Elementor to implement the listing widget which we just did. Now we're not going to completely start this from scratch. So we just click on this template area, come to my templates, and we're going to select employee settings, insert employee settings and apply. Now, what we'll do here is to change these settings to save jobs. So to personalize it, I'm just going to say my save jobs. We don't need this, so I'm going to delete it. Next, we'll just bring in, let's say, an inner section. I'm going to give it a margin of, let's say, 30 top. I'll delete one of the columns of the inner section. Then I'll bring in a listing grid widget, then insert it here. Now, I'll select the listing item I want for it. Let's say I say grid. It pulls out this listing item for employee. So, and we have these listings being populated on the page. So I want to, let's say, increase it to 10, because we have set that the user meta store, the maximum number of jobs they can store should be 10. I want the no message found. I want the no message found to say you have not saved any job. You have not saved any job. So with that being said, I'm going to scroll down. You could see that all the jobs are being shown here. but we just want it to be that is the users saved jobs that should show on this page. To do that, I'm going to come down to post query, add a new query. Then this query type is going to be post and author parameters. Scroll down a little bit. Then I'm going to say get post from store, and the store is going to be bookmark jobs. So as you can see, I have added 4 favorite jobs to store. That's why I have, let's say when I go to job list, and I click on enter. When you count the number of jobs I have bookmarked here, you see we have 1, 2, 3, then 4. That's why you have 4 items being pulled out as what I have added to store. I'm going to update it, then preview. So on preview, we have our employee favorite jobs being displayed like this. So let's say we decide to remove one of the items stored. So you see the item has been removed from store. Let's refresh this listing. So you also see that it has also been unbookmarked from here if there's any English like that, and you have the 3 other bookmarks. So with that being done, we're going to head over to the next one, my resume.